You're listening to Sox in the Basement, a production of the Broadcast Basement Limited, where every show is 30 minutes of good and comes from a basement bar on the south side of Chicago. Pull up a stool, pour a cold one, and join us right now for Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. And welcome down to Sox in the Basement. My name is Chris Lanuti. Welcome to my 9-foot homemade oak bar here on the south side of Chicago. I would like you to sit down, relax, crack open a cold one, and enjoy some baseball this weekend as we bring you yet another game in a full 2020 simulated season brought to you by Cork and Carry at the Park, found at 33rd and Princeton, currently open, and that's a good thing. Plus, they still have that amazing food available for delivery through corkandcarryatthepark.com and also through Grubhub. We use MLB The Show 20. We simulate baseball games. We give you full broadcast, and we appreciate the fact that you give us feedback that you're enjoying it. Unfortunately, baseball is not here for us. In fact, they're the one sport that can't get their act together. Meanwhile, there is a draft going on in Major League Baseball, and that's why James Fox from Future Sox joining us this weekend. In fact, we may hear from him by the end of the game. We're in Houston with the White Sox currently sitting 3.5 back from the Minnesota Twins. At one point, they were 1.5 back from Minnesota, but Minnesota never loses unless they're playing the White Sox, and we just dropped 2 out of 3 to the Indians in heartbreaking fashion in Game 3 yesterday. But now the team hits the road, and if you're trying to figure out if this game means anything, I'm going to tell you right now, yes, it does. The 2 wildcard teams if the season ended today would be the White Sox in slot number 1 and the Astros in slot number 2. Sox at 43-26, Astros at 41-27 coming into this series. And the numbers suggest something very interesting. While the White Sox are only 17-15 on the road, the Astros have not done well at home, only 20-16. Maybe it's because somebody took away somebody's electronic equipment in garbage cans. They're actually better on the road, if you can believe it. This simulation accounts for everything. It's the start of a 9-game road trip over the next 10 days. The White Sox this weekend in Houston. We head out there now on the podcast for fans, by fans. Sox in the Basement, found everywhere podcasts can be found and always at soxinthebasement.com. Let's go. Minute Maid Park, Houston, the site of one of the greatest moments of my life when the White Sox beat the Astros in the 2005 World Series. And now, with the roof open, the Chicago White Sox start off a 3-game set here against the Astros. My name is Chris Lanuti. Welcome to Simulated Baseball with Sox in the Basement. Jose Urquidy, 13 starts, 3-2 record, 4.39 ERA over 67 2/3 innings. He's got a 1.36 whip and 41 strikeouts, 77 hits and 15 walks over those innings. He will start, the righty on the mound, and leading off for the White Sox is Tim Anderson, kicking off this series, hitting .328. He's dropped to 7th in the American League in overall batting average, 5 home runs and 33 RBIs for TA. And an inside pitch brushes him back on the first one, and it's 1-0 the count. And we're underway on a Friday night. James Fox from Future Sox joining us to talk draft this weekend as the first pitch comes at 7:10. Now a lazy fly ball in the center field, and Anderson is away. 1 gone. 2 pitches, 1 out. Yasmani Grandal comes to the plate. 18 homers and 52 RBIs to go with his .279 average. Has done very well in the 2 spot overall. Had a little bit of a slump, but really started to break back out again over the last couple of days. Now a low pitch rolls to the backstop, 1-0 the count. He's crossed the plate 4 times in the last 7 games for the White Sox. Not a very speedy guy. He gets stranded sometimes out there on the base paths. Then again, he leads the team in home runs. No wind, clear skies, 68 degrees here in Houston. The roof is open, and it is a monstrous barrier out in the right field when that roof is even retracted, as all the apparatus sits out in right. They've done a little bit better job with this ballpark since when it first opened. That stupid hill in center field with the pole in the field of play was just dumb. They've removed that. Maybe it was after, and I want to say it was Game 3. A.J. Pierzynski put one up the hill, and some hapless outfielder for the Astros was falling down. The White Sox were running around the base paths. Somebody learned that was a bad idea. Grandal walks, he's down to first base. And here comes Abreu hitting 270 with one out in the top of the first inning. 12 home runs, he had one yesterday, and 47 RBI. Jose not tearing it up this year, but he doesn't need to when you look at the rest of this team. Although if he started to tear it up, this team would be almost unstoppable. First pitch outside, call the ball, 1-0 the count. We mentioned this yesterday, 13 double plays so far for Abreu. He's hit into 13 of them as we sit here on the 12th of June. Now an inside fastball misses, 2-0 the count. Very small strike zone early on here. We'll see if that continues throughout the entire game. Grandal took advantage of it. Anderson was a little too excited to sit back and find it out. Now a high four-seamer, 3-0 the count with Moncada on deck. Urquidy stands on the mound with 10 pitches so far and a 3-0 count to Abreu. Strike down the middle, four-seamer taken, 3-1 the count. It's nice to sit back and watch a game here in Houston and not hear weird noises coming from tunnels, although we'll be keeping an ear out just in case. They should have them all walk through a sensor before they come on the field, just to make sure. 3-1 pitch. And that one's low, and Abreu walks. So 2 walks issued here by the Astros. And runners on first and second. Yohan Moncada comes to the plate hitting .331. He leads the team amongst eligible hitters, and he's 4th in the American League with that average. 12 homers and 39 RBI. Yo-Yo's batting lefty because the pitcher's a righty. He's got 2 on here and 1 out in the top of the first inning. And the pitch. A low four-seamer. He swung at and fouled it back. Normally he takes that first pitch. Over the last 7 games, hitting .429. Moncada stands in, waiting for the next one. Here it comes. Outside pitch. He chased it. A changeup away 0-2. So far, the normally patient Yohan Moncada has swung at 2 outside of the strike zone and is 0-2 after the last 2 batters in front of him walked. So the plate approach, not what you would expect from a guy who's been on for pretty much the entire season. Next pitch down the middle. He rips this one deep out in the left field. Tailing back near the track, it will be caught. Nobody's going to advance. A line shot out in the left. There's 2 gone. He just wanted to hit, obviously. He'll get another chance. There's 2 gone here in the top of the first, and here comes Edwin Encarnacion. Designated hitter today. Normally this would be Jimenez's spot, but he's off today. 15 homers and 34 RBIs go with his .265 average. And the righty stands in with 2 on and 2 out here in the top of the first inning. The pitch on the way. Low and inside, a slider taken for a ball, 1-0, and that zone is very small. You have to be perfect to get a strike called right now. Reynaldo Lopez is not precision. This might hurt us as well. Outside pitch, a changeup call the ball, 2-0. The 2-0 pitch to Encarnacion. Swung on and fouled off a four-seamer high and away, 2-1 the count. The White Sox lost a difficult game last night. The bullpen really let down Gio Gonzalez and the rest of the team, blowing a 5-run lead with 4 outs to go in the game at home. 2-2 now on that swing and a miss to Encarnacion with 2 outs here in the top of the first. And then a high, tight pitch swung on and missed, and Encarnacion goes down. Sox get 2 on, but let the Astros off the hook here in the bottom of the first inning. Midway through the first, no score. Reynaldo Lopez, 13 starts, 4-3 record, 3.93 ERA, 73 in the third innings. With 59 hits and 33 walks, that's a whip of 1.25. He also has 62 strikeouts. If you told me before the season started you're going to get that out of Raylo, I would have said thank you very much. And I don't know where the 2 pitchers were expecting at some point, coming off of surgeries. Carlos Rodon and Michael Kopech are going to fit in this rotation. So far, Kopech's up, and he's in the relief role, sitting in the bullpen. Michael Brantley, batting lefty, hitting .287, steps in. Swings and misses at a changeup away, 0-1 the count. And Kopech's one of those guys that may take over in the closer role. A lot of questions today for Ricky Renteria. He's got a closer that's blown 5 games already. Colome came in last night with the 5-run lead and gave up 3 straight hits, and they were all hard hit. Because that's a soft fly ball in the center field, put away by Adam Engel, 1 gone. Let's go around the horn and tell you what's going on with this defense. Grandal behind the plate, Abreu is over at first. Danny Mendick gets the start at second. Tim Anderson at short, Moncada at third. Left field is Garcia. Center field, Adam Engel. In right field, Nomar Mazara. Alex Bregman's up, hitting .299. The righty takes a changeup inside, 1-0 the count. Third best average on his team so far, as Raylo quickly goes into the pitch, swing and a miss, and a curveball away, 1-1 the count. Renteria saying, after that performance last night, that Alex Colome will be moving into a middle relief role for the foreseeable future. He suggested some names that may end up being the closer. Aaron Bummer, Steve Cishek, and even Michael Kopech. But the job is no longer Colome's. He has been unable to answer the bell too many times. 3-1 now to Bregman. Lopez into the wind in the pitch. Swing and a miss at a four-seamer right down the middle. 3-2 the count. Full count to Bregman with nobody on and 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Lopez checks the sign from Grandal, the pitch. Swing and a miss at a slider low. He got him. 2 gone here in the bottom of the first. First strikeout for Lopez on a team that leads all of the American League in strikeouts right now as a staff. Honestly, the Achilles heel of this team has been the closing role in the bullpen. Altuve comes up hitting .313, 15 home runs and 45 RBIs. He's on a 10-game hitting streak with a .943 OPS. He's also wearing 2 shirts currently because his wife does not like it when he takes his shirt off. At least that's what I've been told. The 1-0 pitch on the way. A high slider misses, 2-0 the count. He went 3 for 4 with an RBI in his last game. In the comfort of 2 layers of clothing on his top side. Now he fouls off a four-seamer, 2-1 the count. Lopez to Grandal, who's down on one knee, setting up outside, does not get the pitch, 3-1, and yes, that strike zone is as small for Lopez as it was for Urquidy. And now we have a 3-1 count with 2 outs to Altuve. Check swing, it got through into the zone, 3-2 the count. 3-2 count, 2 outs, bottom of the first. The pitch to Altuve. Swung on and lifted out into right field. Mazara actually tailing a little bit towards center underneath it will make the play a 1-2-3 inning for Raylo. And we're through 1 with no runs, no hits, no errors for either team. And the White Sox coming back up. Leury Garcia is hitting .281. 5 homers, 28 RBIs, a .462 slugging percentage. He'll bat lefty in this game so far today early on because he got a right-handed pitcher, although he switch hits. He's going to ground this one to first base. Foot race over to the bag. The pitcher beats the player on the 3-1 putout by a half a step. 1 gone here in the top of the second. Adam Engel comes to the plate hitting .274, 8 homers and 20 RBI. Playing center today instead of right as Nomar Mazara gets another start. Renteria trying to take advantage of the fact that Mazara is finally starting to hit the ball over the last couple games after such a terrible start to the season. Now a strike low evens the count early to Engel, 1-1 the count. Toronto in Detroit leading 3-1 early in their game. As now this one's lifted out in the right field. It'll get down for a base hit. First one of the game for either team. As Engel singles in the right field in front of the charging outfielder and stands over at first base. So some speed aboard here in the second inning with 1 gone, and here comes Nomar Mazara, the lefty, hitting .215 on the season, but is 4 for his last 6 with 2 walks. after taking pretty much 2 weeks off. 6 homers and 22 RBI in the season with a .737 OPS. Suspect defense and the low batting average made him a bench player. I don't know if we can improve the defense, but maybe he can start hitting. A strike at the knees called, 1-1 the count now, with Engel on first. The pitch on the way, outside slider misses, 2-1 the count. Engel with a good lead at first, he's going to take off. Pitch swung on and driven into right field, dropping quickly but not quick enough. The play is made. Engel retreated back to first. There's 2 gone here in the top of the second. Adam was smart enough to recognize that was going to get caught and turned around before it was so he could make it back to first base. Danny Mendick's up now, the 9-hitter, hitting .266. Having a very good first full year here in the major leagues. 2 for 3 in his last game with a double. Amongst the 3 White Sox rookies on the offensive side, between Robert, Madrigal, and Mendick, Mendick is clearly adjusting the best at the plate. A low inside changeup makes it 1-2. Now, he's not the guy they expect to have at second base. They expect to have Madrigal there, so he's getting more at-bats. But Danny makes a case to be in the lineup every day. He lifts this one down the right field line. A lot of hits out there. Underneath it, the play will be made. And after getting a base hit from Adam Engel, nothing else. We're midway through the second. No score here in Houston. Yordan Alvarez comes up, hitting .257 with an .868 OPS. He's currently 6th in the American League left field all-star vote. And the man brings power. He bats in the 4th spot here and leads off this inning. First pitch rifled over to short where Moncada's playing due to a shift. He scoops it and throws over to first. It's officially a 5-3 putout made from the shortstop position. And there's 1 gone on 1 pitch here in the bottom of the second inning. Lopez only needed 14 pitches in the first, 1 so far here in the second. George Springer comes up hitting .317 with 17 home runs and 54 RBI. And right away I want to point something out. I don't expect George Springer to ever have numbers like that again. As a person that had George Springer on his fantasy team, and that's a ball outside, I know that late in the season, George Springer gets better. Late in the year, when the playoffs are on the line, George Springer gets better. And late in games, when a home run or a big hit is needed, he seemed to always come up with it. And now with everything that came out, I don't know if George Springer is that good of a player, or at least that good of a hitter. A 3-0 pitch sent down the right field line. It's a base hit. He can hear me, obviously, but I still don't believe it. He's going to head into second base with a double. First hit of the game for the Astros here with 1 out. They got a man on second. But follow me on this one. A lot of the Astros players, a lot of people around the team are like, oh, we didn't do it all the time. We didn't cheat all the time. Sometimes we stopped doing it. It's like when you play a video game and you're playing it on the hard mode to challenge yourself, but you get into the 8th or 9th inning and you're like, nah, we should have won this game. And you put it on easy mode, and you win. George Springer seems to do really well in those situations, and I believe he probably benefited a lot more from garbage can banging than some other guys. Time will tell, though, with these guys. Carlos Correa is hitting .235. He stands in the 6th spot. In the right-handed box, he puts one right back up the middle for a base hit. The Astros are going to take the lead early in this game. Springer comes around and scores. The ball thrown into second base. That's a single and an RBI for Correa. So back-to-back hits off of Reynaldo Lopez, and the Astros open up a 1-0 lead. As a young team learning how to win, we're going to run into teams that have won. Just like we ran into the Indians, who found a way to ruin that series. Just like that debacle in Minnesota, where we lost 3 out of 4 to the Twins. Sox are going to take lumps, but it's still a fun season. And they're going to compete all year long, I believe. And they have every chance of making it into the postseason this year. .235 batting average for Yuli Gurriel. And he grounds that one down the first baseline foul. Next pitch, a strike taken. 0-2 the count. Into the line. The pitch low in the dirt blocked. Snap throw down to first base. Nobody's going anywhere. 1-2 the count. Lopez with the soft line drive induced over to second. Mendick's going to make the catch. Runner holds at first. And here comes Josh Reddick, the right fielder for the Astros, in the left-handed batter's box with 5 home runs and 31 RBI. Going along with his .296 batting average, he's got 2 outs and a runner on first here in the bottom of the second. A low pitch in the dirt again. The curveball is kind of getting away a little bit from Grandal, but he's keeping it in front of him. 1-0 the count. Next pitch low, chopped over to first. Nice play made by Abreu, backhanding it. Running towards the second base side. He then runs over to first, steps on the bag, and the inning is over. The Astros get 2 hits in a row and score a run. Through 2 innings here in Houston, we're trailing 1-0. Tim Anderson in the top of the White Sox lineup coming up here. He's 0 for 1 with a flyout in the first. A .327 average, 41 runs scored, 22 stolen bases. Doing very well in the leadoff spot, takes a 4-seamer down the middle, 0-1 the count. His 86 hits are second most in the American League. So when people sit there and say, well, the average is not as high as it was when he won the batting title, he looks pretty consistent to me, even if he's 7th right now in the American League. And he's getting the hits up at the top of the order. Ground ball back to the pitcher, flipped over to first. He's 0 for 2 in this game so far. Here comes Grandal with a walk in the first inning. Sox had back-to-back walks with 1 out in the first, and were unable to advance anybody. A low inside 4-seamer called the ball, 1-0 the count. There's a shift on with Correa on the other side of second base, and Altuve out in right field. The 1-0 pitch on the way to Grandal. Down the middle, a changeup, 81 miles an hour. I bet you Grandal wishes he could have taken a swing at that one. He held off for some reason. Now he skies a 4-seamer that was inside on the hands down the first base line, hooking foul. 1-2 the count. Next offering high, a 4-seamer, count even at 2. Sox trailing early here, lots of game left. Pitch down the middle, lifted deep out to the left center field corner, trailing back towards the wall. They're not going to get to it. It's going to bounce off the wall, but it plays perfectly for the Astros, and Grandal is held with a single. So now Abreu comes up with Grandal on first, and a high inside 4-seam fastball, 1-0 the count. Sometimes you hit a ball really hard, and it just bounces off a hard spot in the wall right back in, and it's like an extra relay man. And that bounce was not fortuitous for Grandal. Low outside changeup misses, 2-0 the count now. Abreu walked the first time up. He's currently the leader in the American League All-Star vote at first base. Takes an outside pitch high down the first base line. It's in foul territory, playable, and the play will be made on the run out in shallow right field on foul territory. 2 gone here now in the top of the 3rd inning for Yoan Moncada. Moncada stands in after a long fly out to left field. He was very impatient in that at-bat. Now he takes this ball low, a 4-seamer, 1-0 the count. Now a strike at the knees, located just a little bit higher, 1-1. Inside 2-seamer misses, 2-1 the count. 2 outs, top of the 3rd inning. Sox trailing 1-0 here in Houston in game 1 of this 3-game set. As he fouls off a 4-seamer right down the middle. He was late on that one, 2-2 now. The Phillies lead at home against Oakland, 5-2 currently in the 4th, as this one is sent down the third base line, hooking foul right into the area where Juan Uribe made that amazing play in the last inning of Game 4 of the World Series. And now a swing and a miss at a 4-seamer, low but in the zone. Moncada K's, and we're midway through the 3rd, still trailing 1-0. Foundation issues not properly handled can be costly. Family Waterproofing Solutions is owned by Ken, a veteran of the United States Marines, and his wife Maria, making them a veteran-owned business and a female-owned business that will diagnose and repair wet or leaky basements. And while they're located on the Sox side, Family Waterproofing services the entire Chicagoland area and Northwest Indiana. And now, after taking time off to ensure they can do things safely and securely for you, Family Waterproofing is back in business and doing jobs. Plus, part of the proceeds for every job that they do are donated to veteran and first responder organizations who support our frontline defenders. And currently, Sox in the Basement listeners have access to special pricing when they contact Family Waterproofing Solutions now, 708-330-4466, or visit them today at FamilyBasementWaterproofing.com. You just heard from Family Waterproofing Solutions. Here in the middle of the third, it is the Family Waterproofing Solutions third inning. The Sox trailing 1-0, and I'm sure it stings a little bit what happened last night. Now they got to run into the Astros here in Houston, and the team needs to keep a level head. And if you want some level-headed work from level-headed people, Family Waterproofing Solutions has a Marine at the helm. Ken, his wife Maria. It's a family-owned business, a female-owned business, a veteran-owned business. And they have Sox in the Basement deals. You heard all about the fact that they will come out to your home, or they'll do it on a video screen, or they'll do it with pictures, whatever you feel safest with. You heard all about the fact that veteran organizations and first responders get a portion of the proceeds. But don't forget to ask about those Sox in the Basement deals when you give them a call. They do great work. Garrett Stubbs is hitting .260. The lefty stands in already 2-0 against Lopez. Now a four-seamer inside goes for a strike at 95 miles an hour. 2-1 the count here. Leading off the bottom of the third for the Astros. Lopez with only his 30th pitch of the game. It's fouled off into the dugout. 2-2 the count. Next pitch low, a four-seamer misses. Count is full. Michael Brantley, the leadoff hitter, awaiting his second at bat, on deck. Lopez goes inside, check swing, they appeal. And they're going to say he didn't go around and call it ball four, and I'm going to say right now, I think that umpire was looking at something in the stands. He came around. They're going to show it on a slow-motion replay here on the screen. I don't know why they're doing it, because it's very obvious that the bat breaks the plane, is well over the plate, and the wrists are breaking there. That is a really bad decision on the appeal, and Lopez has walked somebody instead of striking him out. Brantley comes up with a runner on first, and a fly ball deep into right field. Tailing back towards the walls, Mazzara. He'll put up his glove and make the catch. Runner will retreat back to first, and there's one gone here in the bottom of the third on a long fly out by Brantley. Bregman's 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first inning, sitting on 10 home runs this season. Used to be a big fan of Alex Bregman. That's a stolen base attempt, the throw down, he's going to be safe. So now Stubbs has his 5th stolen base of the season, and he's down at second. 0-1 though to Bregman. Next pitch outside, a four-seamer, 1-1. My kid was a huge Alex Bregman fan, and now he just doesn't even care about him after what happened in Houston. You know, they're going to get away with a lot more than we wanted them to, but deep down in the end, there's a generation of kids that are going to remember this, along with us adults. Pop fly, third base side. Moncada underneath it will make the play, 2 gone. And up comes Jose Altuve. 0 for 1 in this game. 2 outs in the bottom of the third with a runner on second. Last time the Astros had a runner on second, they put one right on the ground up the middle and scored that runner. Pitch outside, 1-0. Now he goes outside, gets him to swing at a four-seamer, 1-1 the count. A lot of movement on Lopez's pitches right now. 2 outs in the bottom of the third as he stares in and waits for the sign. The pitch. Sent down the first baseline, foul into the netting. 1-2 now. Swings at a slider low, just gets a piece of it. Count will remain 1-2. Lopez delivers a high four-seamer. Altuve lays off it. 2-2 the count. Runner on second base. Stubbs with a lead. Now an outside slider misses. 3-2 the count is full with Yordan Alvarez on deck. Lopez doesn't want to let him on as well. He's been pretty efficient so far. Into the wind and the pitch. Swung on and fouled off, a four-seamer on the outside corner. He's working Altuve away. Let's see if he tries to go inside on him. The pitch. Goes outside again and gets him to go after a changeup well outside the zone and strikes him out. Excellent K by Lopez. The inning is over. We're through 3, 2 hits apiece for these teams. 1-0 Astros. And in the top of the 4th inning, Edwin Encarnacion, who's 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first inning, comes to the plate hitting .264 with a .514 slugging percentage. Edwin leads off the inning and takes a ball low and away, a 4-seamer, 1-0 the count, hitting .308 his last 4 games. Next pitch inside, swung on and missed, a slider above the hands. 1-1. Now another inside pitch, and they're setting up inside now on him. Noticing he can't get around at it. He swung and missed at that one as well. The 1-2 pitch. Back outside, he can't get it, the slider away. The moment they figured out that he wasn't able to handle the slider and the inside pitch, they set him up, and then they knocked him down with a pitch tailing away. And that looked ugly. That was Pedro Serrano in Major League ugly. Garcia steps in, grounded out in the 2nd inning on 1 pitch. Takes a low changeup for ball 1. Larry's hitting .279. He's got a .791 OPS. He's one of those bench guys that come off and play very well for this team. He and Mendick have been almost invaluable in terms of giving guys time off. 7 years, all 7 of them with the White Sox in the majors. Swings and misses at that one. 1-2 the count. 1 out, top of the 4th inning, nobody on for the Sox. Inside pitch sent over the head of Correa, and that's a base hit in the left center field. Garcia on his horse heading into second to throw in from Springer. He is safe on a head-first slide with a double, his 13th of the season. The White Sox currently 4 doubles ahead of the Angels, leading all of the American League. They take that extra base when they can. Urquidy, the pitcher for the Astros, 57 pitches so far here with 1 out in the top of the 4th. And Adam Engel takes an inside 4-seamer, 1-0 the count. He singled in the 2nd inning. A single here would probably tie this game, hitting .279. Adams found some power this year. Next pitch inside, fouled off, 1-1 the count. He's hitting .333 with runners in scoring position. He's got one there now. An outside pitch sent out in the center field, but Springer's going to come in and grab it, and a good throw into third is going to hold the base runner Garcia. That's 60 pitches so far for the Astros starter, as Nomar Mazara comes up 0 for 1 with a fly out in the 2nd inning. And hopefully, the turnaround he's been showing in limited action over the last couple of days will continue right now. Inside pitch high, 4-seamer taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. Mazara is actually hitting .313 with runners in scoring position, even though he's hitting just above 200 on the season. So he's made him count. 1-1 the count to Mazara after a swing and a miss. Next offering high and tight in the zone, 1-2 it was taken. A 2-seam fastball. And now Nomar has to work up there at the plate. The pitch on the way. Fouled off, a 4-seamer away, he's protecting. 1-2 the count remains. Next offering inside, brushes him off. 2-2 the count with Garcia over at second base. Checks the runner. The pitch on the way. Ground ball down the third base line, going to be scooped, going to be a tough play to throw over to first on the jump throw is going to get Mazara by about 2 feet. Nice play by Bregman, who throws that in the air in foul territory. And we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. 1-0 Houston. 44 pitches so far for Reynaldo Lopez in this game. And here comes Yordan Alvarez in the left-handed batter's box, 0 for 1. First offering, a high fastball, taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. The kick and the pitch. Check swing on a slider, they're going to call that a ball, 2-0. Over the last couple games, the White Sox have not gotten the offense going early in the game. And the starting pitchers have pitched in very tight ones. It's a fly out into left field, easy play for Larry Garcia, one gone. Here comes George Springer. He doubled the first time up. He's got a run scored. He's hitting .320, 17 homers and 54 RBI. For everything I believe about him in real life, he's dangerous here. Ground ball off the glove of Moncada. He stays with it. Hard throw over, picked by Abreu, and he got him. Moncada squeezed the glove too quickly, and it dropped in front of him. He picked it up with his throwing hand and rifled it over. It skipped about midway between the pitcher's mound and first base on the one hop and gets picked by Abreu for the 5-3 putout. There's two gone here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Correa comes to the plate. One of the many first-round picks that the Astros had when they were tanking and showing the rest of the league the blueprint for rebuilding. The White Sox have followed a similar path. But now that everybody's done that, we're getting a group of super teams atop Major League Baseball that have control of players and have good rosters and good minor league systems. 2-1 the count, the pitch on the way. Swung on and chopped over to third. Moncada fields it cleanly over to first. The inning is over. Nice play there. After 4, it's 1-0 Houston. The Sox coming back up. You're in the DP3 Tech fifth inning. DP3 Tech partnered with Microsoft and came up with a whole new way for your business to function. Small or large, remember that you can now work from home, work at work, work on an island, have somebody on an island, somebody at work, somebody at home, rotate it however you want to. Migrate your systems over. One button, get them on the screen, on the line. One button, show the file, show the picture, show the image. Have meetings easily, securely, and inexpensively. I'm telling you right now, they got good deals over there. Details coming up midway through this inning. But DP3 Tech, a Southside business, would like to show you how they can do it better for you. In this brand new era, we always talk about innovation in times of trouble. DP3 Tech, one of those companies that has come up with something you need to hear about. Like I said, details midway through the fifth inning. 1-1 to Danny Mendick, as the bullpen already stirring for the Astros. Brad Peacock's one of the two out there I saw, as their starter is about to throw his 70th pitch of the game. Foul ball, 1-2 the count. Mendick's 0 for 1, sitting in a 9 spot today. Anderson's on deck. Takes a high outside pitch, lifts it into center field. George Springer's a vacuum. He'll get over there and make the play. One gone here in the top of the fifth. He patrols that center field with great ease. Very difficult to get one down out in center. Tim Anderson's 0 for 2. He's got a fly out and a ground out, hitting .326. He stands in for his third attempt of the game. The pitch on the way. Low at the knees, taken for a strike, a four-seamer, 0-1 the count. Won the batting title last year and the top 10 this year. You got to be happy with that. Ground ball back up the middle, trying to get through the hole. It does. Just past the outstretched Correa. Coming over from short. Springer flips it into second. That's a base hit for Anderson. One of the leaders in stolen bases here in Major League Baseball, and I would imagine the White Sox in this low-scoring game may try to get him moving at some point. Grandal's 1 for 1 with a single in the third inning. He comes to the plate. Anderson with a good lead at first. They check him and they throw low and away. Four-seamer misses, 1-0 the count. 93-mile-an-hour four-seamer. Sox trying to put some pressure on here with one out in the top of the fifth. Anderson dancing at first, leads off again. They come to the plate, swing and a miss on a high and tight four-seam fastball, 1-1 the count. He could go here. He could see whether or not Grandal gets another ball on the count, an outside changeup, 2-1. And now you got to figure they may not pitch out on a 2-1 count because they don't want to make it 3-1. This wouldn't be a bad pitch to go on. Anderson with the lead with one out here in the top of the fifth. There he goes. That pitch is rifled out in the right center field, tailing back towards the wall and way off the top of the wall. I thought that was out of here. Anderson on the move is in the third. I thought that was getting over. Tim Anderson on the steals hesitated. I think he lost where the ball was going. If he keeps going the entire time, he probably scores, but Anderson stopped to find the ball and then continued running. You got to trust your coaches on that one. Second and third on the Grandal double off the top of the wall. I thought that was getting way out of here. You could hear me start the sentence. Then it just died, hit the top of the wall in right center field. The Astros going to the bullpen now with 1 out and 2 on, and Abreu coming up, and here comes Rogelio Armenteros. The announcer just said the name, and I got it right on the first try. I'm very proud of myself. 34 games, 4.64 ERA over 75 and 2/3 innings. And Abreu comes to the plate with 2 on and 1 out here in the top of the 5th. First pitch swung on and lifted deep into left center field. Anderson will tag up as this is going to be caught at the wall on the track. He'll come home and score. And we have a tie ball game as Abreu on the first pitch skies it out to the warning track in left center field. Grandal remains at second, and here's Yo-Yo Moncada, 0 for 2. Struck out the last time up. And now we have a tie ball game here in the top of the 5th. Low pitch, slider inside, fouled off to the backstop. 0-1 the count. Hitting .333 with runners in scoring position. A lot of the guys on this White Sox team, high averages with guys on base. Now he lifts this one into deep center field. Tailing back is Springer. He'll catch it on the run. Just barely got to that one. He's looking at his glove like, is it in there? I don't know if he knew it was in there at first. We're all tied up midway through the 5th here in Houston. New challenges bring new technology. DP3 Tech has partnered with Microsoft to make things easier on you and your business. Imagine being able to get everybody together in a nice, easy, user experience friendly meeting room and being able to share whatever you want in the room with just one click. You can migrate from old legacy on-premises equipment right now to flexible, secure, work-from-home friendly cloud services. Bring your group together faster, better, easier. Find out what DP3 Tech can do for you. Contact their cloud migrations team today, 312-896-2450, or email info@dp3tech.com. Reynaldo Lopez comes out with only 52 pitches here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Yuli Gurriel stands in the right-handed batter's box, takes a ball away, 1-0 the count. Now a tie ball game here in Houston. So the White Sox starter will start the 5th just like the Astros starter and hopefully have better luck because he's the only starter left in the game at this point. A foul ball and then a high pitch makes it 2-1. As the sun's starting to set here in Houston. The 2-1 pitch on the way. Swung on and back up the middle. A high chopper. Anderson comes over. Mendick cuts him off. Play can't be made at first anyway. That ball hit the dirt, bounced over Lopez, who was jumping up for it, and then it hit the dirt behind the mound, went back up high again. Mendick and Anderson converged and waited for the ball to come down. Mendick actually grabbed it with his bare hand before Anderson would catch it and tried to throw it over there, and they couldn't get the runner. So both players working hard to make the play. I don't think it would have mattered who got the ball and threw it. Just one of those fluky ground balls that goes for an infield hit. Fastball inside, fouled off by Reddick. 0-1 the count. So a runner on first with no outs here in the bottom of the 5th. The ground ball to Anderson, slow chopper, flipped over to Mendick, over to first. They will not get him. Slow developing play. Again, both balls hit off the bats of Astros players here. They look like they were hit with a fungo bat. Very weak, barely moving through the infield balls, and it's created two very slowly developing plays. Sox got the force out there, but Garrett Stubbs is up now. And he's 1-0 in the count with a runner still on first base. Maybe we should check their bats. Do you think the Astros are using fungo bats disguised as real bats? I don't put anything past them right now. Not one thing. Runner's going to go, and that's a base hit down the right field line. The hit and run working perfectly. Mazzara gets it in quickly, but it's not in time. The runner's going to come around and score from first on a double down the line. I mean, it's clearly a hit and run. Runner never looks back. Comes all the way around and scores. And the Astros grab the lead back right away. And now with one out here in the bottom of the fifth, Brantley's up. And a low outside fastball taken for ball one, 1-0 the count. It's been a pretty good game for Reynaldo Lopez, but, it's frustrating after you tie up a game that right away the other team comes right back. And they may not be done. Outside changeup fouled off, 1-1 the count. Brantley's 0 for 2 in this game. The guy on second base has been on both times. He's the 9-hitter. Outside slider misses, 2-1 the count. Expecting to hear from James Fox from Future Sox coming up here in this game about the White Sox draft pick that just occurred. Their new number 1 draft pick. I'm going to tell you right here at Sox in the Basement, we're a little excited. I like that pick. We're going to see what James thought. He's the expert, not me. Especially on the minor leagues. A low fastball at the knees taken for a strike by Bregman. There's 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And that ball's going to get away. Runner's going to go from second to third. So Lopez got the pop out behind third base for the second out. And then he throws a wild pitch to the backstop that puts the runner on third here with 2 outs. Altuve's on deck. Bregman, who's 0 for 2, has a 1-1 count. A strike on the outside corner, 1-2 the count. He's working him low. Even the wild pitch, he was going low in the zone. 3 of them right at the knees. 2 for strikes. The 1-2 pitch to Bregman. Swung on, off of Lopez's arm. He falls to the ground. Moncada picks it up, throws to first. The runner is safe, and the runner scores from third. Reynaldo Lopez went down in a heap. He is down on the ground on one knee, and the trainer's going to come out, and he's hurt. They're going to check him. He wants to continue pitching. So he's going to come in here against Altuve. That's the first time we've seen all season long a pitcher take something off his body where he laid on the ground. And I fully expected him to be injured. They're saying he's okay now, and he's quickly 0-2 to Jose Altuve. 2 runs have scored here in this inning, and it's been on the flukiest things you've ever seen. 2 goofy, soft ground balls that left a runner on base, and then a ball that goes off the shoulder of Reynaldo Lopez that gives him the other run. Just a ridiculous inning. Somehow we're trailing 3-1 here after 5. Edwin Encarnacion comes out 0 for 2 and fouls off a four-seamer at the knees. 0-1 the count here to start off the top of the 6th inning. James Fox from Future Sox joining us in the bottom of the 6th to talk about the newest Chicago White Sox draft pick. Their newest number 1. Inside changeup taken for a ball, 1-1 the count. Jace Fry and Carson Fulmer warm in the bullpen for the White Sox. An outside slider misses, 2-1 the count. It was amazing to me that Lopez still came back into the game. It was a vicious hit off his shoulder. He went down to one knee. He fell on the ground. He got back up to one knee. And when they checked on him, he hadn't stood up yet. And then suddenly he popped up and wanted to go back and pitch. 3-1 to Edwin now. As Armenteros continues the pitch for the Astros. He finished off the last half inning. Four-seamer foul back. The count is full. 2 sneaky, slow-hit ground balls equated to 1 guy on base, as this one is deep out in the left field, back towards the track, but caught. They were playing him deep, and he hit it right there to the warning track. A lot of warning track power today from the White Sox. Nothing getting out on a hard line drive way back. It just ends up in a glove. 2 sneaky, dinky ground balls equated to 1 guy on base when really there should have been nobody on with 2 outs. The hit and run advanced the runner around and scored him. That wouldn't have happened. And then you're going to get out of the inning and you get a line drive off your pitcher, and Moncada couldn't get the ball picked up quick enough off the ground as his pitcher's laying there to get the runner at first base. Garcia's up 1-for-2 in this game. 1-1 the count already. A low inside changeup misses, 2-1 the count. The righty deals this one, slow hit grounder to second base, but it doesn't bounce off of anything weirdly, so it's just a routine 4-3 putout, and there's 2 gone here in the top of the 6th. 2 righties warming up in the bullpen for the Astros as Adam Engel comes up, 1-for-2. 2 outs in the top of the 6th, the pitch on the way. Low inside changeup taken for a strike. 0-1 the count. Ryan Presley, Joe Smith, the 2 warming up for the Astros right now. They have a 3-1 lead. They scored early, the Sox tied them up, and then a ridiculous inning, last half inning. And they get 2 cheapy runs off of Reynaldo Lopez, who's actually pitched pretty well in this game so far, through 5 innings. 1-1 angle now. The pitch on the way. Sent off the screen, down the third base line. 1-2 the count. Into the wind and the pitch. And a high and tight fastball called strike 3. Engel doesn't like the call, but he'll tell his story walking. We're midway through the 6th. We're chasing 2, down 3-1 in Houston. Reynaldo Lopez heads back out. He must be feeling good as he's going to pitch to Yordan Alvarez to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning. Joining me on the phone line right now from Future Sox, James Fox, who I just learned is going to be a new daddy. Congratulations, James. How are you?
Oh, thanks.
Well, when I say expectant father, you have like the easy job.
I have the, right, yeah. Well, that's what I was like telling my wife. I'm like, so basically, like my job's turned into like keeping a human alive. That's like what I have to do. So it's like, oh boy, like so.
It's not that hard, trust me. And you just have a few extra ones just in case. That's why I got 3. I got spares. Anyway, James, welcome to the show. The White Sox made their first round draft pick number 11 overall in the draft. And I'm going to already screw up his name. I want to say it's Crochet is the last name, right? I mean, is it the way that it looks like? Garrett Crochet?
It's Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, I like it.
Correct.
It's fancy, out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
As Alvarez puts one up the middle, scooped by Anderson behind second. Over to Abreu at first, 1 gone. Springer to the plate, 1-for-2. Lopez sitting on 76 pitches, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th and an outside 4-seamer. A left-handed pitcher, and what's interesting is before he was picked, you get Reed Detmers that gets picked. He's also a left-handed pitcher. And there were several other pitchers taken in this draft. He's actually the 5th pitcher taken. So of those 5 pitchers, did the Sox get somebody that they should be excited about, or did we end up with the scraps?
I don't think they ended up with scraps. I think there's a lot of projection with this pick. And I think, I think it's easy to just like say that he's a reliever, and I have my concerns. And like nobody wants to pick a reliever in 11th overall.
Ground ball to Abreu. He'll catch it and step on the bag. Springer's retired, 2 gone here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Please continue, James.
But I think on the other side of that, he was really good over the summer, like in the Cape Cod League. And then he missed some time early in this year, which what I was told is like basically like a muscle strain, like in his upper back. And he actually has like one of these college coaches that actually cares about his players, and they kind of held him out like just to be safe. And then he was good in 1 start, and then the season shut down. So, if you want to spin it positively for the White Sox, they took a guy who maybe if he had 10 more starts under his belt and the season ever gets canceled, maybe he's not there at 11 in the first place. So he was a guy that was supposed to go in that range in the preseason. After being like mostly a reliever at Tennessee, his stuff had ticked up big time, which we can talk about. And then he was going to be a rotation piece, and then obviously like the whole world stopped. So, it is a lot of projection. There's not a lot of innings. I think the inning is like a bigger, red flag than the injury. Like most people keep looking at the injury and they're like, oh, they took an injured guy. Like, no, they didn't take an injured guy. He's fine. He's healthy. It'll just be determined on how good he can develop that third pitch to remain in the starting rotation. And the White Sox took him 11th overall, thinking that he's in fact going to start like down the road. So, no, I think they had a tough time messing up the 11th pick in this draft, and I said that because the draft's like so deep. I would have preferred a prep player, but like Jerry Reinsdorf doesn't like paying teenagers a lot of money, so maybe today with that. But that probably wasn't going to happen at 11.
Correa hits one deep to center field at the wall. Engel makes the play. A quick 6th inning. Hang out with us, James Fox. We're going to talk more coming up next. Brad Peacock comes in. 17 games, 24 innings, 2.63 ERA, 22 strikeouts and 7 walks. He's got a 2-1 record. Lefty's hitting 286 against him. Righty's hitting a paltry 123. A lefty in Mazzaro will lead off the top of the 7th inning with the White Sox trailing 3-1. James Fox is on the line joining us. Amongst other things, he works for Future Sox, and he covers minor leagues in the draft. Perfect time to have him here. And Mazzaro lifts the first pitch deep into center field. Tailing back towards the wall is Springer. More warning track power, nothing getting out. There's one gone immediately. So let's talk a little bit about what some people are saying about Crochet. There's this comparison that's occurring right away in some of the media circles of, it's just like Chris Sale. He's a lefty. He could probably start in the bullpen and then eventually work his way into being a starter. I don't understand why Chris Sale's name is being mentioned even with him, because Sale was a completely different level of player, but there might be some truth in the idea that here's a guy that if the Sox got into a race and he wasn't completely ready to be a starting pitcher, could come in as a great lefty out of the bullpen and eventually develop into a starter later on in his career. Do you buy into that looking at him?
Yeah, so I think people are just having a tough time looking at the comp. Like, they think, like, Chris Sale, like, he's going to be, five-time All-Star, I think it was, like, with the Sox, and multiple-time, like, Cy Young contender. Like, no, that's not really what it is. Like, he's left-handed, he's funky. The one thing, Sale has way more college innings and way more, like, college success as a starter than Crochet did. But, yeah, that's what it is. It's basically, like, the path. Like, if they happen to get into the playoffs this year, like in one of these like shortened seasons that we're probably going to have, and Garrett Crochet was on your taxi squad the whole year, like, could you rush him to the big leagues in a relief role, and then run him back out as a starter, like in the minors or something next year? Sure. I think in a full minor league season, I think he's starting for someone, but you could make the argument that he comes up sooner, comes out of the bullpen with the intention of him moving into the starting rotation like Sale, but I don't think anybody should think that he's Chris Sale. I mean, they caught some grief last night too, because Mike Shirley is a scout at heart, and he hasn't done a ton of interviews with the media, and they asked what Garrett Crochet was last night, and he said, we think he's a number 3 starter with a chance for more, and people freak out right away. But I mean, they don't realize, like, this is how scouts talk. Scouts don't say, like, yeah, he's a number 1 starter, because scouts think there's like 8 or 10 of those guys in the world.
Right.
So, like a number 3 starter is like Patrick Corbin. Like, if this guy's Patrick Corbin, it's a hell of a pick at number 11 overall. But I think the common fan who watches the NFL draft and the NBA draft is like, you took a number 3 starter at 11? Like, that should be an all-star. Like, no, like, look, if this guy like pitches in the majors, like, the pick's a win. Because it's just, drafts are very hard. And like, I cover this stuff, and sometimes I fall into the trap too, if you're like, you got to hit on all these picks. Like, no, if you get like 2 big leaguers, like, the draft kind of pays for itself. So, while there is like a tremendous amount of upside with this guy, I think people kind of undervalue like what a number 3 starter really is. Like, if this guy's a number 3 starter in a big league rotation, like, they've won the 2020 draft.
Mendick with a high fly ball on the right field. That's going to be a can of corn. Quickly 2 gone here as the White Sox can't get anything going offensively. Trailing 3-1 here in Houston, with Tim Anderson coming to the plate 1 for 3. Right, because you can look back on any draft list right now. Just go online and take a look at it. You can go through them. More than half the guys in the first round never make it to the majors, and you're right about that. There are too many people that go, "Oh my gosh, you should have taken so and so," and you don't know how these guys are gonna work out. What are you reading that makes you think that these are absolutes?
They find the 7 guys that have been good. They're like, well, the Sox should have taken that guy. How did they not know? Like, well, I know it. How did they not know it?
I know it.
Yeah, you know it 3 years. You know it 3 years later.
Anderson ropes one into center field. That's a base hit on the right field side of Springer. Now he heads into second base and stupidly gets himself thrown out at second. A terrible decision to come in there and try to get 2 after he gets the base hit. He tries to do too much. We're midway through the 7th, trailing 3-1 and hanging out with James Fox. Brutal play there to end the top of the 7th inning. Bad decision by Anderson. Lopez remains on the mound. Yuli Gurriel is up, and he takes ball 1 high. He's 1 for 2 with a single in the 5th inning, and James Fox is talking draft with us here on Sox in the Basement. Let's talk real quick about the minor league guys, and especially a guy like Andrew Vaughn. We talked a lot about him last year when the Sox drafted him, and he had that quick trajectory to the majors. Is he one of those guys that this really hurts because he's not going to get a chance to play very much when he should have been developing and hopefully ready for us in 2021?
Yeah, so I think it hurts him quite a bit, but I do think, like we're going to see the truth serum come out a little bit here, right? Like the White Sox notoriously rush to their prospects, and then once they went on this path towards rebuilding, they kind of stopped with that, right? And all of a sudden, there was this magic prospect book that was like, well, I mean, they got to check all these boxes and do all this stuff that they've never done before, right? So we'll see, if Andrew Vaughn gets some time with the taxi squad this year, that they're going to have in Arizona, and then he plays an extended Arizona fall league. And then, if he goes to Double-A next year or even Triple-A next year, he could have maybe less time in the minors than other people, and if they don't pick up that option on Edwin Encarnacion, he could be in the big leagues next year anyway. So we'll see. Like on the surface, yeah, it hurts because he was gonna do Double-A this year with the thought of hopefully being the White Sox first baseman in 2021. I don't know how likely that is, but I'm also curious to see how much, maybe a team like the White Sox who's trying to win, might throw development out the window a little bit and just be like, well, this guy can hit, so we can just teach him everything else, we'll just ramp him up to the big leagues quickly. So he's I think a different example than maybe some of their younger pitchers. I think it hurts, some guys like Matthew Thompson, Andrew Dahlquist, those guys are going to pitch at Kannapolis for the first time. It stinks. It stinks for a lot of prospects, but every team's dealing with it. So.
Ground ball under the glove of Abreu and out in the right field. A base hit immediately. They're actually going to call it an error. They're going to say it skipped off of Abreu's glove. He's going to get an E3 on that one. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, he pulled the glove up too quickly, anticipating a hop, and he took it off the bottom of his glove. Should have been a ground out, so an error on Abreu. With no outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Josh Reddick stepping in. And they're going to head out to the bullpen right now and go get Jace Fry. So Renteria does not want to expose Lopez any further. He took a ball off of his shoulder earlier in this game. He gutted it out. Has done a very good job, but he gives up that first base runner, and now Jace Fry is going to come in. He matches up very well with the guys that are coming up. 17 in the 3rd innings, 3.12 ERA, 2-2 record, 6 holds, 26 strikeouts to 8 walks. Opponents hitting under 170 against him from either side of the plate. Fry will take over here with a runner on first and no outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. James, get back to this game here. Hopefully the White Sox can pull out a victory, and you can tell that it's affecting me now that there is no baseball, because I'm actually taking these simulated games so seriously that I ate my dinner angrily after they lost the 3rd game against the Indians in that terrible. They had 4 outs to go. 4 outs to go. 4 outs to go.
You're writing
and they were up by
articles.
5 runs. They're up by 5 runs with 4 outs to go in the game, and they end up blowing the game. I mean, and it's a simulation, and I'm just angry. I just walked around the entire rest of the day just angry because I don't have any. I don't have any baseball.
Were you writing letters to Rick Hahn that he blew the Dallas Keuchel signing because he's not as good as you thought he was going to be?
No. I was writing letters to myself. I should have intentionally walked Carlos Santana. I thought about it, and then I decided to pitch to him, and he hit a 3-run home run. So, ground ball to Moncada, flipped over to second, around the horn, and Mendick throws an offline throw that pulls Abreu off the bag. It'll be a force out at second. Nice feed by Moncada over to second base. Danny Mendick comes too far over second base. And when he throws that ball, he basically pulls Abreu up the line towards home. And the runner is safe. Sox out of sync lately. Garrett Stubbs comes to the plate 1-for-1 with a double, an RBI, a run scored. He also has a walk, a stolen base. The guy's doing everything in the 9th spot today. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. First pitch flied out into center field. Underneath it is Engel. There's 2 gone. Runner retreats back to first. And now the top of the order with Michael Brantley 0 for 3 with a pop out in the 5th inning. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th, and another lefty for Fry.
So one last thing here for, I know we're recording this a day early. Those that listen to this will have already seen night 2 of the shortened MLB draft. I'm thinking right-handed pitcher Kyle Nicholas out of Ball State tonight in the second round, and they like right-handed pitcher Ben Hernandez out of De La Salle High School in Chicago as well. So we'll see if I'm right.
I love that. I love that you put it down knowing that it's going to be over before this airs. And you're like, but I'm James Fox, and I get the scoops. And I love it, James.
When you can edit it out if it's wrong.
No, I'm not editing anything. It's in there now.
Just call me tonight after they pick, and then I'll put the new name. We'll just put the new name.
By the time they pick, I'm going to be so drunk, I'm going to sound very, very different on the air. It won't blend. Unfortunately, yeah. No, you're on there, and I think you'll be right. I mean, you nailed the Robert thing. You nailed the Robert extension. You're on top of all kinds of things. You're a superstar. I hear you on all these big radio stations now. I'm waiting to see you on MLB television any day now. You're going to be popping up.
I'll always have time for the little guy though, so that's fine.
James Fox, Future Sox. Thanks for joining me, bud.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Bouncing chopper down the third base line. Moncada grabs it. Sends it over to second for the force out. The inning is over. After 7, it's 3-1 Houston. The Sox need to find some offense. Ryan Presley comes in, 21 games, 5 saves in 7 appearances. He's coming in a little early with 19 2/3 innings, a 5.49 ERA. Yasmani Grandal will lead off the top of the 8th, 2 for 2 with a double and a single. That's the first out, and once again, my thanks to James Fox from Future Sox, who covers all those minor league happenings and the draft. And he's nice enough to come on this show, even though he becomes a bigger star each and every day. Is now with 1 out in the top of the 8th inning. Abreu swings and misses at an inside fastball. 0-1 the count. Unfortunately, it feels like the White Sox couldn't get the offense going today. They still have time. But after that disastrous inning where they gave up the 2 runs, they've been flat, but now Abreu puts one down the third base line. Fair ball. He'll take the single. The defense here in the outfield for the Astros prevents a lot of extra base hits. That's a line drive over the head of Bregman down the third base line that gets to the corner. And Abreu can only go to first and round it. And the ball's already coming in. They do a very good job of minimizing the amount of bases you're going to take off of a hit here. Moncada comes up 0 for 3 with a line out in the 5th inning. Down to 327. He stands in the left-handed batter's box with 1 gone here in the top of the 8th inning and Abreu down at first base. First pitch on the way. Inside almost hits him, a 4-seamer up and in, 1-0 the count. Presley threw that one at 97 miles an hour. Maybe a little of intimidation there. Sox just looking to string together a couple of hits. The pitch on the way, low and away, a slider, 2-0 the count now to Moncada. Coming up after a scheduled to hit is Edwin Encarnacion. Yo-yo and 0 for today. Trying to get off the snide, swing and a miss at a curveball inside, 2-1 the count. Sox are really only a couple of hits away from tying or taking the lead in this game, but it doesn't feel like they're on today. Swing at a pitch right down the middle is popped up in the shallow center field. Springer comes in and makes the play. There's 2 gone. They just don't look very good at the plate. The Astros pitchers have done a good job holding them down. A lot of warning track power today. Now Encarnacion comes up with a runner on first, 0 for 3 in this game with 2 outs in the top of the 8th inning. The wind in the pitch and a ground ball weakly hit to second base. 4-3 put out, and the Sox going down easy in this game. The Astros have held them to 1 run through 8 innings. We don't see that often against this Sox team, and we trail 3-1 midway through the 8th. Carson Fulmer comes in, 15 games, 27 2/3 innings. He's got 2 saves. They were both 3-inning saves. Got a 1-3 record, a 3.58 ERA. Fulmer's had some surprising appearances for this White Sox team, getting out of some jams, and has contributed. We haven't seen him in a while, and Ricky Renteria is sending him out there probably because his offense is flat. And if there was ever a time to get some guys some work, now is the time. It's not over yet, but Bregman, the two-hitter, is leading it off for the Astros as we'll go through the middle of their order one more time. Meanwhile, the middle of our order just went down 1, 2, 3. Well, Abreu actually got a hit. But it feels like 1, 2, 3, doesn't it? They're just not very good today. Pop fly down the first base line, hooking foul into the stands, 1 and 2 to Bregman. Fulmer, the righty, throws inside, a fastball fouled off. 1 and 2 the count remains. It was nice of James Fox to join us. I remember years ago when I reached out to him when we were brand new here on Sox in the Basement. He was happy and seemed a little surprised somebody wanted to talk to him. Now he's one of the most sought-after people on mainstream Chicago sports radio and even television. Swing and a miss there for Bregman. 1 gone here in the 8th inning. And you know what's great about James? He'll still reach out. He reached out to me. He's like, hey, you want to talk draft? He's just a nice guy. We're happy for his success. Jose Altuve comes up with 1 out, takes a strike down the middle from Fulmer. He's 0 for 3 with a fly out in the 5th inning. It feels like the White Sox got shell-shocked at home. And then even though they could have pulled back into this game, that goofy inning that took it from being a 1-1 tie to a 3-1 deficit seemed to suck all the wind out of their sails. And a young team sometimes can kind of get stunned like a boxer in the ring. And this is one of the best offenses in baseball, and they're not showing it here in Game 1 down here in Houston. 3-1 count now to Altuve with Yordan Alvarez on deck. Fulmer into the wind and the pitch. Foul ball into the camera well on the first base side. 3 and 2 the count. Now the Sox did have a few regular starters out as this one is over the mound. Grabbed by Anderson on the run, thrown over to first base. A nice 6-3 putout, 2 gone. Robert not playing. Jimenez not playing. Madrigal not playing. And that's 3 guys out of your starting lineup, but then when you think about those names, 2 of them you wouldn't say, well, you know, the offense can't survive without Nick Madrigal and Luis Robert. But you can see the contributions. The 0-1 pitch swung on and missed by Alvarez. 0-2 quickly on an off-speed pitch from Fulmer. Trying to go 1-2-3 in this 8th inning. Throws an outside changeup. Laid off. 1-2 now the count. Carson, a former first-round draft pick that the Sox and a lot of baseball thought would be a starter. A mainstay in the rotation. He only makes this team because he's out of options. And he would have been gone by now if it wouldn't have been for the good start. And it's a line drive over Abreu's head down into the corner. They're always getting extra base hits. We can't do it. That's a double. 13th for Alvarez. He's got a 6-game hitting streak. And he gets that with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. George Springer comes to the plate, 1 for 3. He's got a double and a run scored. He's got an OPS over 1,000. Sure, Carson Fulmer didn't want to see him here in this inning. He was that close to a 1-2-3 inning. Instead, a fastball at the knees goes for a strike. 0-1 the count with a runner on second base. The Sox are not out of it, technically, although it feels like they are the way they've been hitting. Swing and a miss at a 4-seamer inside. 0-2 the count. If I'm Ricky Renteria right now, I'm thinking to myself, do I need a jolt? And do I need to pull somebody off the bench to pinch hit here? Or do I rest all those guys and aim for Game 2 and 3 of this series at the beginning of a long road trip, although you do have Monday off? An outside 4-seamer misses. 1-2 the count. McCann is relatively fresh. He makes sense to come in as a pinch hitter. I would imagine you're going to see him at some point. Jimenez was getting a day off, just for wear and tear, we were told. I don't know if he's available. Fly ball out in the right field. Underneath it is Mazzara. Can of corn. The inning is over. The Sox need 2 to tie this game. Carson Fulmer did his job. He's held him in there. So did Jace Fry. After 8, we're trailing 3-1 here in Houston. Sox are going to have Garcia lead off here. He's 1 for 3. The first pitch on the way, inside strike on a four-seamer, 0-1 the count. That was at 96 miles an hour on the inside portion of the plate. Houston scored first, White Sox struck back, and then a goofy inning made it 3-1. Take away the strange, odd inning that created those two extra runs. With the two balls that died in the infield, as an inside pitch sends Garcia down to the ground, he almost got hit in the head. 2-1 the count. And then the ball hit off of Lopez. That could have also been an out. Strike on the outside corner, 2-2. You take that out, this is a pitcher's duel, and it's 1-1 at this point. But when you only get one run, you got to look at the offense. It's not the pitching. The 2-2 pitch. Outside four-seamer misses, 3-2 to count. Adam Engel stands on deck for now, although he's had a rough game. The 3-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled back. Count remains full to Garcia, the leadoff hitter here in the top of the ninth inning. Presley trying to pitch the eighth and the ninth here for the Astros. Four-seamer fouled off. Count remains full. Sox have two more here in Houston, then a day off. Then they continue this road trip going back through the Central Division a little bit. Detroit and Cleveland on deck after this. 8 pitches in this at bat for Garcia as he fouls that one off. Count remains full. So he's fighting here. And now that one's in the dirt. He's going to walk down to first base. And the leadoff man is on. You have speed on board for Adam Engel. And the Sox are going to call him back and send up James McCann. McCann has done very well in pinch hit situations. Has driven the ball. And he's available and fresh. He'll come up with a runner on first. Sox trail 3-1, no outs here in the top of the ninth. A low and away fastball misses. 1-0 the count. He's hitting .360 with 4 home runs and 11 RBI in limited action as the backup catcher. He's done very well in the pinch hit role so far this season. The 1-0 pitch on the way. High misses, 2-0 the count. If McCann gets on with his lack of speed, then you can see somebody like Robert sent out there where he'll take over in the outfield for McCann anyway, and he'll run along with Garcia on the base paths. 2-0 count here in the top of the ninth inning. Presley looks in, the pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, a four-seamer tailing away outside the zone. Probably would have been a strike. 2-1 the count. Sox hoping to mount an offensive here with their final 3 outs in the top of the ninth. An inside pitch called a strike. It was up. Umpire says it was in the zone. 2-2, the count is even. Garcia on first base with a good lead. The pitch on the way. Swung on and sent into right field. That's a base hit. Leury's in the second. The first 2 are on here in the top of the ninth inning. Robert's going to come down and run at first base. Mazzara comes to the plate with 2 very quick runners and no outs here in the ninth inning. He's 0 for 3 in this game. Renteria could consider trying to advance the runners with a bunt here and give up an out, or he could let him swing away. The first pitch is high for a ball, 1-0, and I think the reasoning is, at least early on in the at-bat, Nomar has lifted a few of them deep. They just haven't gotten out. Plus, the control is off for Presley trying to get a 2-inning save. Now a low four-seamer misses 2-0 with 2 on and no out here in the top of the ninth inning. Mazzara's also hitting .303 with runners in scoring position, so he's been clutch, even though the average is low for the season. Good speed on first and second. No outs in the top of the ninth. The pitch on the way. Low and away, ball 3. And now, with Danny Mendick on deck, Jimenez still available, coming off the bench along with Madrigal. It'll be interesting to see what the White Sox do here. The pitch on the way, down the middle. He takes it. He's taking all the way. 3-1 the count now to Mazzara. Presley has thrown 29 pitches as he remains out there on the mound. Pitched the 8th and the 9th, at least so far. It's a 3-1 count to Nomar Mazara. Checks the runner and the pitch. Swung on and popped up into shallow center field. Nobody's going to advance on this one. There's one gone here in the top of the ninth. And the Astros are going to Joe Smith. He's got 2 saves in 4 opportunities, 8 innings, and a 7.88 earned run average. That's only over 7 games. Meanwhile, Eloy Jimenez has grabbed the bat and he's coming up. He will hit here in the 9th inning for Danny Mendick. So Jimenez hitting for Mendick, 267 average, 14 home runs, 41 RBI. First pitch inside, a sinker taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. Anderson on deck. 1 out, top of the 9th, the pitch. Swung on and rifled down the third base line. Fair ball! That ball's into the corner. 1 run's going to score. Roberts into third base. He's safe. Jimenez in the second, and the White Sox are a run away from tying this ball game in the 9th. Jimenez with a double down the third base line. And we got a whole new ball game here with Tim Anderson coming to the plate. 1 out, 2 on. Top of the 9th. First pitch to Anderson hits the outside corner. 0-1 the count. He's got 2 singles in this game. He's 2 for 4 with a run scored. A hit is going to tie it. A good solid hit could take the lead. They're going to intentionally walk TA now for some reason after that pitch. Doesn't make a lot of sense. They had a strike on him. The decision now being made, they'd rather go to Yasmani. So you're going to bring up the guy who leads the White Sox in home runs with 18. A man that hit a big 3-run home run the other night at home against Cleveland, who's 2 for 3 with a double and a single, hitting from the left side with the bases loaded and 1 out here in the top of the 9th because they're trying to get the double play. First pitch swung on and missed a slider inside, 0-1 the count. He's grounded into 11 this season. He also has 18 home runs. Very interesting decision. Sacks packed with Sox, the pitch. High and tight, inside, 1-1 the count. The White Sox trying to come back in this game. It would be amazing. Simply incredible to come back in this game after the way it went. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Down, did he swing? They're going to say he went. Grandal thought he held up. He shakes his head in disgust and says something to the home plate umpire as he steps back in. He believes it should be 2-1. It's 1-2. The next pitch on the way. Swung on and off the glove at third base. Bregman looks around for it, picks it up, tosses a second, gets the force, the run scores, and this game is tied at 3. It almost gets over the head of Bregman. He hits it with his glove. He turns around. It's laying on the ground. Roberts scoots home. Jimenez in the third safely. Grandal safe over at first base. Anderson's forced out at second, barely. We have a tie ball game, and Jose Abreu comes to the plate. 3-3, the White Sox have come back in this game. And the first pitch is low for a ball, 1-0 the count. The 1-0 pitch sent foul down the first base line, 1-1, the count is even. If it doesn't go off the glove of Bregman, 2-run score. That one's in the dirt, it's going to roll away. He's not going to score. Jimenez came halfway down the line, did not want to go. Grandal advanced to second on the wild pitch, so very conservative on that one. They couldn't tell where that ball was going to go. I would have liked to have seen Jimenez try for it. He did not. 2-1 now to Abreu. Pitch outside, misses, 3-1 the count. Moncada's on deck. In the bullpen, Michael Kopech and Steve Cishek warm up as Alex Colome lost that closer's job. He and Bummer had a rough night last night, so the options seem to be the guys that are warming up. An outside pitch and Abreu walks. The bases are loaded once again for Yo-Yo Moncada. If there was ever a time here for Moncada to get a hit in this game, it's now. He's 0 for 4 with a fly out last time up in the 8th inning. He averaged down to 325, but he slugs 566 with an on-base percentage of 374. A walk takes the lead. A hit takes the lead. A home run would be huge. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th in a game that we have no business being in, but we have found our way in it. Sox have scored 2 already to tie it. First pitch swung on, driven deep down the first base line, hooking foul. Stood there for a second and looked at it, but it was clearly curving foul. Way out in front of that first pitch, 0-1 the count. Next one inside, a slider, misses 1-1. Abreu's on first, Grandal's on second. Jimenez with the pinch hit double is over at third. 1-1 the count. The pitch on the way. Outside slider, misses 2-1. Remember, the walk's as good as a hit right now. It would give you the lead. Then you just got to come in and hold it. Next pitch high and away, 3-1 with Encarnacion on deck. And nowhere for the Astros to put Moncada if they throw another ball. Outside pitch, dribbled to first base. He probably should have let that one go. Yo-Yo could have walked on that pitch, I believe. Instead, he grounds out to first. The inning is over. We're midway through the ninth in a tie ball game here in Houston. The Sox still have life. Michael Kopech will come in the pitch the ninth inning. 9 games, 2-0 record, 21 in the third innings, 5.48 ERA, 30 strikeouts to 9 walks. Lefties only hitting 191 against him. Righties, though, are hitting over 300. He's got Carlos Correa up. Jimenez moves into left. Leury Garcia comes in to play second base. Luis Robert is out in center field now. Engel, Mendick, both done for the day. James McCann also used up in a pinch hitting role. Inside fastball misses, 1-1 the count. Nick Madrigal, the only guy on the bench still available in a player's role. And the bullpen being used here by the White Sox. Kopech throws a four-seamer outside, 2-1 the count. You've seen Michael pitch well late in ball games. We've also seen him have a rough inning or two. Hence the ERA over 5. Four-seamer swung on and fouled off, 2-2 the count. He's definitely a candidate to take over as the closer on this team, along with Cishek and Bummer, as this one is lifted out into center field. Robert comes over, Mazzara calls him off. One gone here in the bottom of the ninth inning. Yuli Gurriel comes up, 1 for 3. The first pitch is low in the dirt, two-seamer, 1-0 the count. Next offering swung on and missed, 1-1. Sox couldn't get anything through 8 innings. Then they go to the bench and find their way to 2 runs and probably should have gotten more and taken the lead, let's be honest. A ball that goes off of Bregman's glove that was on its way into the outfield that would have scored 2 and made it 4-3. Bases loaded and a 3-1 count to Moncada, and he swings at what would have been ball 4 and grounds out to first base. They've had opportunity after opportunity today to really be winning this game. They're lucky to be tied. It's 3-1 now. Kopech delivers the pitch. Down the middle, a fastball fouled off at 97 miles an hour. Full count with 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth and nobody on here in Houston. Into the wind and the pitch. He pitches it away. He's not going to get the call. He wanted it. But the batter's going to walk down 90 feet. And they've got a man on base. 1 out. And up comes Josh Reddick, 0 for 3 with a ground out in the 7th inning. 291 average. He's got the runner on first base. Does not have a lot of stealing ability and only has moderate speed. First pitch low and in, taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. Kopech trying to pitch low here and induce a ground ball. I like it more when he tries to overpower the hitter. Runner's going. That one is popped up in front of the mound. Abreu underneath it. Runner retreats back to first. There's 2 gone here in the bottom of the ninth. The Astros going with the hit and run, obviously. And instead, the pop-out occurs. 2 gone here in the bottom of the ninth, and the 9-hitter, Stubbs, comes to the plate. First pitch fouled off down the third base line, 0-1 the count. Next offering down to third base, Moncada scoops over to first. And Kopech pitches a very good 9th inning. We're heading to extras. The White Sox shocked the Astros in the top of the 9th inning to send this thing into extra innings. We're all knotted up at 3 heading to the 10th. Edwin Encarnacion comes to the plate. In a 3-3 game, he's 0 for 4 with a ground out in the 8th inning. Average down to 260. It's been a tough day for the White Sox bats, and yet they find themselves in extras. A low and inside slider taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. Over 37,000 here in Minute Maid Park today. An insane Friday night crowd. We have not seen a lot of big crowds like this. High fastball makes it 2-0. Next one fouled off, an inside slider, 2-1 the count. Joe Smith returned to the game after finishing off the last inning. Now he comes inside, almost hits Edwin. 3-1 the count. Leury Garcia stands on deck. Next offering, ball 4. Encarnacion goes down the first base. I guarantee you the White Sox want to get that run quickly, and yeah, they're going to do it. They're sending Nick Madrigal out there to run for Edwin. So they're going to have speed on, and Mad's running and sitting in the DH spot for the rest of this game. So you got speed on. You take that advantage here in extras. Chris Davinsky comes in. The righty will face Garcia. The first pitch to him, low in the dirt, 1-0 the count. Good speed, on board first. That pitch is low and away, 2-0 the count to Garcia. It's a weird lineup going through it the rest of the way because of all the movement of players in the last inning that helped the White Sox get those 2 runs. As that one's low and away, taken for a strike, 2-1. Luis Robert is actually sitting in the spot behind Garcia. That's a strike down the middle, 2-2. Next pitch fouled off, a 4-seamer. He's protecting. Count remains even at 2. Then Mazzara. And then after him, you get Eloy Jimenez. This one lifted deep out in the right field, tailing back towards the wall. Get up, it will not. I almost yelled a stretch there. That one is caught on the run at the track. So Robert comes up, hitting .218, 4 homers and 22 RBIs at the day off today. Didn't expect to hit, now he's hitting in extra innings. With Madrigal on first and 1 gone here in the top of the 10th. First pitch ripped out in the right center field, tailing back, that is in the gap. Madrigal's on the move, he's coming around to third base. The throw is going to come in, and they are going to hold Mads at third. I got to tell you right now, I'm getting frustrated. That ball's in the gap, and Madrigal should come around and score, and it almost feels like the simulation doesn't want to let our runners run. We saw it happen earlier on with Tim Anderson. Sometimes you feel the deck is stacked against you as Nomar Mazara comes up 0 for 4 and immediately rifles a line drive to first base for the second out. And you want to know what's bad about that play? He dropped it and picked it up, but Madrigal holds at third. And I have no control over it, folks. Now they're going to intentionally walk Jimenez, who's coming up, to bring up Tim Anderson. So once again, the White Sox have the bases loaded here in a tie ball game for the second straight inning. And here comes T.A. He's 2 for 4. He's hitting .331. And a base knock would be huge here. First pitch fouled off down the first base line, 0-1 the count. This one down the third base line, hooking foul into the stands. He's 0-2. A low pitch, ball 1, 1-2 now the count. T.A. protecting with the bases loaded. Now another low pitch, 2-2. Davinsky struggling here in the 10th inning, but can still escape. If he can find a way to get out Anderson, it's an even count with the bases loaded in a tie ball game in the top of the 10th. The pitch. High, misses. 3-2 to count is full. Grandal's on deck, but everything's happening at the plate right now. Top of the 10th inning, 2 outs, a full count. The crowd on its feet. The pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, a slider away. It's 2 straight innings. The White Sox have been on the cusp of taking the lead in this game. And 2 straight innings of disappointment. Michael Brantley's up. He's 0 for 4. First pitch on the outside corner from Kopech. 1-0 the count. Next offering, low and away, a changeup, 2-0. Here in this 3-3 ball game, the top of the order for the Astros. Now a four-seamer, catches the zone, 2-1 the count. The wind and the pitch, swing and a miss at a two-seamer, high and outside, 2-2. Brantley's 0 for 4 in this game. We've had everything in this game. We have had ridiculousness. We have had bad luck. We have had poor base running. We have had amazing plays. We have had just inexplicable decisions. We have a 3-2 count now with Alex Bregman on deck, and we've also talked with James Fox about the new White Sox draft pick. And now we're here in the bottom of the 10th inning trying to get to the 11th. And he walked him. Outside slider, Kopech walks him. Miles Straw will come in to pinch run. He's the winning run for the Astros. I guarantee you he isn't going to hold up on anything hitting to the gap, as I feel like there's a cheat mode put on here when the Astros play anybody in this game. A low slider misses, 1-0 the count to Bregman. Bregman's 1 for 4. That's pitch number 23 for Kopech out of the pen. Good speed on board at first base. The pitch hits the zone above the knees, 1-1 the count. Next pitch misses outside, 2-1. Foul ball down the first base line, count even at 2. No outs here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Runner on first base here for the Astros. The pitch from Kopech. Down the third base line, foul ball, just barely. Count remains even at 2. Now a swing and a foul ball back to the backstop. Count still even at 2. And he fouls back another one. Altuve's on deck, but everything happening right here at the plate. The pitch from Kopech. Swung on and missed. Got him inside. One gone here in the bottom of the 10th inning. He made Bregman look foolish on an inside fastball on the hands. And he could not get around on it. And here comes Jose Altuve. Sox battling here in this game. Feels like everything's against him, as Altuve comes up hitting .308 with a .928 OPS. And an outside changeup misses for ball 1. He's 0 for 4 in this game. Kopech checks the runner over at first base. He isn't going anywhere, it doesn't seem. Here he goes. Now he's taking off at a foul ball. 1-1. That's the third time in this game we've seen them employ the hit and run, as he reached for something nowhere near the zone, trying to protect the runner. It worked once. The other 2 times it did not. This one skied down the right field line near the wall. It'll be caught by Mazzara. He gets it in quickly. The runner has to hold. Nice catch, turn, and throw there by Nomar to hold that runner. And Alvarez comes up to lefty with 2 gone and a runner on first here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Sox trying to strand the leadoff runner for the Astros, and a four-seamer on the inside corner at 97 miles an hour goes for strike 1. The next pitch almost hits him, a slider inside, 1-1 the count is even. Sox bullpen is a little taxed coming out of that Cleveland series, so Michael might be the guy here for a little while. We saw him do that on the road a few weeks ago against the Twins. He pitched 4 innings in relief in extras before the White Sox could win the game. That was their last win in extra innings, and it was on the road. An outside pitch swung on and missed, 1-2 the count. The next offering, inside, and he hit him right on the hip. Kopech plunks an Astro. There's 2 on now with 2 out. He lost the handle on that one, and he let him off the hook and on to first base. Although that's going to smart. It came in there and hit him on the hip at 98 miles an hour. Kyle Tucker is going to pinch run. I guess they're just trying to take away any kind of force out at second base with a quicker runner. They only need the guy at second. George Springer comes up 1 for 4 with a double and a run scored. It'll be a matchup between one of the best hitters right now in the American League and Michael Kopech, and that burner he's got for a fastball. Down the middle, a strike at 98. 0-1 the count. Kopech checks the runner at second. Now back to the plate. inside corner called a ball. 1-1. 24 pitches so far in this inning, 14 in the strike zone. Now a swing and a miss on a changeup, low and in. Springer fooled by it, shakes his head. It's 1-2 in the count. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 10th with runners on first and second, and a rabid 37,000 here in Houston looking for a hit. Foul ball and a slider away, he just got a piece of it. Count remains 1-2. The next pitch from Kopech, pops it up, first base side near the dugout. Abreu runs over, leans over and catches it. And the inning is over. We're through 10 and still tied up at 3 here in Houston. Top of the 11th inning, 3-3 here in Houston. Yasmani Grandal's first pitch is a low changeup taken, 1-0 the count. Davinsky remains in for the Astros. 14 pitches last inning for him. Had the bases loaded and got out of it. Now Grandal fouls that one off, 1-1 the count. He's 2 for 4 in this game. They're going to set up on the outside corner against him. The pitch comes inside, but he can't do anything with it. Change up at 81 miles an hour right down the middle, fouled off down the third base line. The next offering. Outside, swung on and missed. He chased a bad one, and he goes down right away. One gone the top of the 11th. And Jose Abreu comes to the plate. He's 1 for 2 with a single and an RBI. And an outside four-seamer called the ball. He has also walked several times. You can tell by that line as we're in the top of the 11th. He's got a 272 average, 12 homers. Got his 12th homer yesterday in Chicago. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, a changeup, low and in. 1-1 to count. Minnesota's defeated Kansas City in KC 2-1. And Cleveland's won in Texas 4-1. And Abreu pops this one out to center field. Now trailing back a little bit is Springer. He will catch it about 390 feet back in dead center field. And here comes Yo-Yo Moncada, who's 0 for 5. He grounded out in the 9th inning with the bases loaded. He's having a very difficult game. Although he has been red hot for pretty much the entire season. A bad day at the plate as he takes this one deep down the first base line and hooks foul. He did that the last time up. First pitch, he was way out in front of it last time. Took it deep, but it was foul. Now a low and away four-seamer. 1-1 the count. 2 gone already here in the top of the 11th. Kopech could come back out again. But we're also seeing Evan Marshall warm in the pen. He had a difficult time last night, but you're running out of options. Aaron Bummer reportedly is pretty worn down, and Colome got beat up yesterday too. So it'll be interesting to see how the White Sox handle these later innings. Kelvin Herrera's out there fresh, but he's a dumpster fire lately. As this one is lined out into left field, tailing back to the wall, it's going to get down. Going to be a single as it's cut off. They're like supermen out there. They're very fast, these outfielders on the Astros. The ball's tailing away, and it's a base hit for Moncada. And he still only gets a single on one hit nearly to the wall. Nick Madrigal comes up hitting .233. Came in as a pinch runner last time up, and the first pitch is a base hit up the middle. Moncada's in the second. And all of a sudden, the White Sox in the last 2 pitches have 2 on and threaten yet again. It has not been for a lack of base runners over the last few innings. They stranded 3 in the 9th, stranded 3 in the 10th, and they have 2 on here in the 11th. And Austin Pruitt comes in, 9 1/3 innings so far this year, that's it. Over 6 games with a 3.86 ERA, is yet to walk anybody, but he has 7 strikeouts. Larry Garcia's 1 for 4 with a double and a run scored. He's got 2 runners on, and an outside curveball misses. 1-0 the count. On deck behind him, Luis Robert, who has a double in his only at bat. Curveball low, 2-0 the count. Garcia hitting .340 with runners in scoring position, but it feels like I've been saying stats like that all night, and then nobody gets a hit. Sox need a run. Check swing, goes for a strike, 2-1 the count. This ball sent over to first base. It's going to be a 3-1 putout as the pitcher covers the bag. The White Sox just keep stranding runners. And the Astros just keep surviving. 12 hits for the Sox now and only 3 runs. The Astros have half as many in the same amount of runs. We're in the bottom of the 11th inning. And Evan Marshall's taking over for Michael Kopech. He had a rough appearance last night. 23 total games, though, 26 2/3 innings with a 3-1 record and a 2.70 ERA. You're not going to take one bad appearance and decide the guy can't pitch. The first pitch is going to be sent out into right field, a can of corn for Mazzara. He'll make the play. There's one gone on one pitch here in the bottom of the 11th inning. Yuli Gurriel comes up 1 for 3 with a single in the 5th. And an inside fastball goes for strike 1, 0-1 the count. The difference so far in the last few innings between these two teams is stark. The White Sox just getting men all over the bases, but have only been able to get across 2 runs in the 9th. And have stranded 5 over the next 2 innings. The Astros have not had that much offense. Sox pitching doing a very good job. Kopech. Now we have Marshall out there with the ball in the dirt, 2-2 to Yuli. Next pitch swung on and sent out to center field. Robert comes in. It's going to bounce in front of him. A base hit, a single. There's a run around now with 1 out in the bottom of the 11th. Josh Reddick comes to the plate, and the first pitch is a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. He's 0 for 4 with a pop out in the 9th, his last time up. Standing in the left-handed batter's box with the runner over at first base. The pitch on the way in is a strike high, a 4-seamer, 0-2 the count. A frustrating late inning game here for the White Sox. First of all, because they probably don't feel like they should have been trailing 3-1 early. Then they tie it up, but probably should have gotten more, and they really should have gotten a run in the last 2 innings. Fly ball out in the right field. Mazzara's going to make the play. There's 2 gone. So the runner stays at first base. Marshall has 2 outs, and the run around over only 9 pitches here. And here comes Garrett Stubbs. 1 for 3 with a double, a couple of walks. The lefty stands in, and Marshall delivers. Down the middle, lifted out into left field. Underneath it is Jimenez. He will make the play. A nice inning by Evan Marshall. Good to see after last night. It's still 3-3, and we're heading to the top of the 12th here in Houston. Will this ever end? Luis Robert is 1 for 1. He's got a double and a run scored. And he awaits the first pitch. A ball high. It was borderline. Pruitt doesn't like it, and he's showing the strike zone to the umpire as he walks away with his hand up. I'd love it if they ran him, and we had one less pitcher in that Astros bullpen. Roberts 1 for 1 with that double that I thought should have scored Madrigal and given him the lead in the 10th inning. Roberto Ozuna warms up now in the bullpen. The 1-1 pitch on the way. A low curveball misses, 2-1 the count. They're burning through their pitchers, maybe quicker than we are in this game. This may be a war of attrition. 2-1 to the leadoff hitter, Robert. An outside pitch misses, 3-1 the count. If you can get him on, you got speed. I guarantee you he's going right away. You can get him over to second base. You got Mazzara coming up and then Jimenez in the top of the order. That ball is chopped back to the pitcher. He'll take his time over to first. There's 1 gone here in the top of the 12th inning. Nubbed it off the end of the bat, and here's Mazzara, who's 0 for 5. He had been looking good over the last couple games, not good now. First pitch ripped down the first base, picked up. He'll tag first. It was a hard hit ball, scooped on the ground by Gurriel. And quickly 2 out. So they're helping Pruitt out and the Astros bullpen as he only has 10 pitches so far. And here's Jimenez. Inside fastball misses, 1-0 the count. Aloy came in as a pinch hitter in the 9th, hit a double that drove in a run and made it 3-2. They intentionally walked him last time up, and it paid off for him. And now he's 1-1 in the count. 2 outs here in the top of the 12th, the pitch on the way. Swung on and missed a slider inside, 1-2. Next offering, back up the middle, a nice play made on the run. Correa scoops it out of the air. Looked like it was headed into the outfield for a base hit. We're midway through the 12th, still knotted up at 3. Miles Straw comes in, hitting .204, took over in left field after some pinch running that luckily didn't pay off for the Astros, and now he'll lead off. He's 0-1 in the count on a swing and a miss from Evan Marshall. Kelvin Herrera warms in the pen. Inside pitch swung on and missed, 0-2. And if you're wondering why you haven't seen Bummer, Cishek, or Colome, the 3 of them worked like crazy over the weekend. So the hope is the rest of the bullpen can hang it in there. Ground ball over to second. Larry Garcia, who started in left field, playing second base now, scoops that, and it's over to first. 4-3 put out, and here's Alex Bregman. He's 1 for 5 in this game. If a ball doesn't go off his glove in that 9th inning, the Sox probably score 2 and win this game with the pitching they've gotten. He's quickly 1-1 on a ball high and then a foul ball back to the backstop. 1 out in the bottom of the 12th, nobody on, and a 3-3 tie. A high 4-seamer, 2-1. If the Sox get through this inning, they head to the 13th inning. The last time they did that, it was in Minnesota, where they got 3 runs in that inning and held on to win in extras 2 weeks ago. Exactly, actually 15 days ago. It was their last extra inning win, and it was on the road. The 2-2 pitch, swung on and fouled off. Count remains even at 2, with 1 out here in the bottom of the 12th. It'll be the top of the order for the Sox. Anderson, Grandal, and Abreu. That one's fouled off, but they have to get through this inning without giving up a run. Bregman hanging in there. Awaits the pitch. Ground ball over to the first base side. Abreu's going to field it, flip over to Marshall, who covers first. A 3-1 put out and 2 gone here in the bottom of the 12th. Jose Altuve's 0 for 5 with a fly out in the 10th inning. He'll come in with 2 gone here in the bottom of the 12th. The pitch. High and tight, a 4-seamer, called the ball, 1-0 the count. Marshall trying to give the White Sox 2 innings of work here in relief, as that one's fouled off, 1-1. Kopech pitched the 9th and 10th, Marshall the 11th and now the 12th. The game was started by Reynaldo Lopez so long ago. 1-2 now, and he's into the wind. Low doesn't get the call, 2-2 on a changeup at the knees. Everybody in baseball is pretty much done. This is the last game being played. Looks like finals everywhere, as we're here in the bottom of the 12th inning, and it's a full count on a pitch that misses low and inside. The payoff pitch to Altuve. Rifled out to left center field. It's going to get into the gap. He hit that one hard. Roberts going to get it and throw it in. A double for Jose Altuve with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 12th inning. His 17th on the season. He now extends his hitting streak to 11. And there's some life for the Astros. Kyle Tucker comes to the plate. Came in as a pinch runner that did not score. He's hitting .291 with 3 homers and 7 RBIs and .837 OPS. The lefty takes a ball inside, 1-0 the count. The scary guy is waiting on deck. That's George Springer. Next pitch, flied out in the left field. Jimenez underneath it will make the play. Marshall gets through 2 innings in relief. We're heading to the top of the 13th, knotted up at 3. Come on, we need a run. Tim Anderson is 2 for 5. He leads off the top of the 13th inning as Pruitt remains in the game for the Astros, and a high 4-seamer taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. The next pitch on the way, inside corner four-seamer taken for a ball, 2-0. Herrera has been warming up a little bit. Steve Cishek comes out to warm up as well. I get the feeling that's Herrera unless we're trying to close out the bottom of the 13th. The 2-0 pitch. Inside on the hand, swung on and missed, a four-seamer, 2-1. Sox need to find that run. This one's foul back, 2-2 in the never-ending ball game. And into the wind and the pitch. Swung on and lifted out in the right field. Coming in, it is off his glove on the attempted dive. Anderson is on with the leadoff single. And Grandal will come to the plate here. He's 2 for 5 with a double, a single, and an RBI. You got good speed on board at first. The first pitch, down the middle, foul back into the mask of the catcher. 0-1 the count. Now an inside pitch called the ball, 1-1. 1-1 count. Tie ball game, 3-all, top of the 13th. Anderson takes off for second. Swung on and fouled back. It was down the middle. It's now 1-2. So TA took off there. I don't imagine he goes again. No, he's taking off again. That one's in the dirt. A ball, and he's safe under the tag. Head first slide. TA steals second. His 23rd stolen base of the season. A 2-2 pitch now to Grandal is popped up weakly to short. So TA made it to second. And now the pop out. And up comes Abreu. He's 1 for 3 with a single and an RBI. One out here in the top of the 13th. And the first pitch is low, swung on for a strike one, 0-1 the count. Next one inside, a ball, 1-1 to Abreu with Moncada on deck. Anderson leads off of second. Next pitch swung on and missed by Abreu, 1-2. In the top of the 13th with one out. Now a strike down the middle and he strikes out. Looking, there's 2 gone. And they're going to walk Moncada to get to Nick Madrigal. And that makes sense. Nicky is not the intimidating hitter you expect him to be. So now 2 outs here in the top of the 13th. 2 runners on. They're both going on the first pitch. That one's down to dirt. Anderson is safe down at third base on the double steal. So the White Sox are going to put their runners at second and third on a double steal with Madrigal up now, 1-0 in the count. So aggressiveness here in the 13th from Ricky Renteria. The 1-0 pitch to Mads. Inside corner misses, 2-0. Leury Garcia stands on deck. Sox have 2 men on again this inning, trying to get somebody across. Next pitch taken for a strike, 2-1 on the outside corner. Swung on and missed a changeup away, 2-2 to Madrigal. And a low changeup brings the count full with Garcia on deck. 2 outs, top of the 13th. Anderson led off with a single. You also have Moncada on now, both of them at second and third. Next pitch away, and Madrigal's going to walk. So the bases are loaded for Leury Garcia. So for the third time, and I want to say 4 innings, the White Sox have the bases loaded with 2 outs, trying to get a run. It's starting to feel like one of those games I want to beat my head against a wall. That's a high 4-seamer for ball 1. Garcia's 1 for 5. The White Sox stranding runners everywhere all game long as an inside 4-seam fastball called a strike. 1-1 the count. It is just a perplexing game right now. Sox doing everything they can to win it, but always coming up just short. The Astros seemingly getting all the breaks, and still this game is tied 3-3 in the 13th. A low outside pitch called a ball, 2-1. Astros pitching has been so shaky here in the last 4 innings. Now he rips this one down the first base line, hooking foul. That could have cleared the bases. Instead, it's 2-2 in the count. Will the Sox let the Astros off the hook yet again? Fouls off a 4-seamer down the middle, 2-2. The pitch on the way. Outside, 3-2, counts full. Ball 4, base hit here. Gives the White Sox the lead with Luis Robert standing on deck. Garcia standing in the left-handed batter's box. A big payoff pitch here coming. Ball 4 in the outside corner. Pruitt wanted it. The Astros are disgusted. It was close, but the White Sox get a run in on a walk. Pruitt now throws his hat on the ground. He's already been mad about the strike zone earlier. He's very demonstrative, but not looking at the umpire. The Sox lead at 4-3, and here comes Luis Robert, who's 1 for 2 in this game. And man, a hit would be big here. You really want to get a cushion. The way things have gone for the Sox over the last 48 hours, and a low four-seamer catches the zone, 0-1 the count. Bases still loaded here for Robert, who has a double. This one's lifted out into the right center field gap, falling fast. Get down, it will not on a diving play. The Sox will only get 1 run. We're midway through the 13th, trying to hold on to a 1-run lead. Steve Cishek is going to come into the game, 31 games, 4-0 record, 11 holds, 36 2/3 innings, and a 0.74 ERA. Righty's hitting .214 against him. Lefty's hitting .110. Renteria obviously holding him in his back pocket for just this moment. And this is it. Can you come back and win this one with George Springer leading off in the 5 spot, 1 for 5? First pitch lifted out to center field. Roberts underneath it. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's big. And there's 1 gone here in the bottom of the 13th inning. A crazy, long, excruciating game. And the Sox are 2 outs away from stealing it. Carlos Correa's up. He's 1 for 5. The righty faces the side-arming Cishek. With 1 out in the bottom of the 13th and nobody on, an outside sinker called a strike. 0-1 the count. The bullpen not even moving for the Sox. This is Cishek's inning. Next pitch fouled off, 0-2. He's got him 0-2 in the count. He's already got 1 out. The pitch on the way. Struck him out looking at an outside pitch low at the knees. Cishek, 3 pitches, takes down Correa. 4 pitches so far. He's got 2 outs and nobody on. A wicked pitch. And the Sox are 1 out away from stealing this game after everything seemingly went against them all game long. Yuli Gurriel comes up 2 for 4 with 2 singles, takes a slider in the inside corner for strike 1, 0-1 the count. The way that we have seen the White Sox have bad luck in the bullpen at the end of games, I'm not celebrating until this thing is over and we're all in the dugout, just in case. 0-1 the count, and it's fouled off on an inside sinker, 0-2. Then again, Steve Cishek gives me faith. He could be the closer going forward for this team. He's definitely in consideration. So is Kopech, who came in and pitched very well in the 9th and the 10th inning, holding down the Astros. 0-2 the count, 2 outs, bottom of the 13th, the pitch on the way. Popped it back foul, he'll get another pitch at least. Gurriel, the 7-hitter, stands in, waving the bat. 0-2 count. Grandal puts down the sign, the pitch. Goes outside, he does not chase the slider away, 1-2 the count. Next offering, in the dirt, swung on it, gets away. Grandal picks it up, throws down to first base, they get him, and the White Sox win this game in 13 innings, 4-3. And it was close down at first. Everybody came off the bench and played, almost the entire bullpen in this game. You come back and score 2 in the 9th. Frustratingly, can't get that extra run in the 9th, can't get the run in the 10th, can't get the run in the 11th. You leave men on in the 12th. You finally get a run across, walking in a run with the bases loaded, and the bullpen holds together. Cishek finishes off the game. And the guy who really was one of the GOATs last night, Evan Marshall, gets the win for being the pitcher of record when the White Sox got that run. And the Sox win a very, very long, excruciating game, but it comes out good for them. 4-3 in 13 innings here in Houston to start off this 3-game series. Good thing they have a day off on Monday because the next 2 days are going to be rough, especially on the bullpen. Tim Anderson, 3 for 6 with 3 base hits, all singles and a walk. He's going to go down as your player of the game. Meanwhile, Larry Garcia 1 for 5 with a double, an RBI, and a run scored. Jimenez 1 for 2 with a double and an RBI. Luis Robert didn't even start this game. He goes 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored. Evan Marshall gets the win, 2 innings pitched in relief. Have to mention Michael Kopech, though, as well. That was amazing. He came out and did very good against a team that was hell-bent on coming back right away in that game after the Sox tied it, and he held in there. Only 2 hits given up by Marshall over those 2 innings, no runs crossed the plate. Steve Cishek comes in and pitches to get the save. Austin Pruitt takes the loss, and the White Sox escape Houston. My thanks to James Fox. My thanks to Cork and Carey at the park. My thanks to Sox on 35th, who has a very long article to write. But trust me, my voice is shot. Wow, that was a long game. Luckily, it's over. The Sox win the first one of 3 against Houston, 4-3. We will see you tomorrow. This is White Sox Simulated Baseball, brought to you by Sox in the Basement. Found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. Bye-bye, everybody.
Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement.
Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always on soxinthebasement.com.